This is part 2 of a series on a walkthrough of the PS1 game Reel Fishing.
Take your time.
We just heard from our Fishing Master. The Fishing Master, when you unlock the second level, can also tell you that char need to be hooked more slowly than trout. And that's what we're going to be learning today. That's the big lesson of this second level here. We're going to the stream, where we're fishing for char. You notice that our tackle is pretty much the same as it is in the first level. Go check out that video if you haven't already, as I go through the very early setup of the game. We've got our live bait, and then we have our dry and wet flies. With char, we're going to start with the live bait after we read this. You notice that char are very weary in this one. Cast close to you and then cast increasingly farther away. I believe that is supposed to be a tip. Go back to the aqua room when char get weary. Again, this should be wary. I believe that's a tip about fighting fish, that they will, if they run to the edge of your screen, they will get off. So it sometimes can be more challenging to catch fish if they are closer to an edge because they can get to those edges and get off. Char hooking is all about what I call the second bite. So if you watch these char very carefully, you may have to slow the video down to really see it, but if you watch your screen, if you're playing this game closely, you'll see when char take a bait, they will turn their body, hold it in their mouth, and then they will do a second movement of their lower jaw. I call that the second bite. I believe that's supposed to be an animation of the fish swallowing your bait. I have never fished for Arctic char in my life, so I do not know if they are particularly finicky or if they're particularly prone to swallowing baits. I don't know what sizes they run. I haven't been up to Alaska and Canada or Michigan where you will catch fish like that. So char fighting are really the same as trout, and that's the case for all of the species in this game. Fighting them, the rules are pretty much the same. The challenge just increases because fish will run more, they'll run longer. They will give you narrower windows between runs, so they will run with the background moving quickly. So you cannot reel during this times with backgrounds moving quickly. They go into thrashing mode, so you have to be quick on getting your attention on them with a directional button. When the background slows down there, that's when you can turn them and reel. But there are fish later on in the game where they will be in a run. And here's our first char. They will be in a run, and then they will stop their run for a matter of frames, it seems like. I'm going to go to a wet fly here. The hare's ear nymph is a wet fly, so that will function very, very similar to the live bait, where the fish bite, and then we go to the underwater scene, and we need to watch for that second chew or the second bite of the char in order to get them on the hook. So we're seeing I'm looking for a fish shadow right here. And so, by the way, your bait will continue to sink, and you can use your directional buttons. There's the second bite if you saw it. You can use the directional buttons to keep it in the strike zone for the fish. So it will sink to the bottom, and if you let it sink to the bottom, the fish won't see it when we get to this kind of screen in the moving water. So you do need to push a directional button to let it go, and then let it fall. Directional button, let it go, let it fall. But again, you see fish fighting, the rules are the same as they were before. This fish actually got to the edge of the screen right there and got off. So it got out the edge of the screen, which is a pretty rare thing to happen. Generally, fish will run and they will get off to the side. But I hooked that fish close to that edge, and it appears that it got off to the edge. The line hit a coordinate or position in the screen that told the game this means fish gets off right here. And so that fish got off the hook. So we're going back to the wet fly to catch another char. To unlock the ball for this one, you have to catch a char larger than 9.8 inches. 9.8 is what you're looking for, and when you do catch that fish, you will hear the jingle. By the way, you do not have to keep the fish that you catch of that size in order to have it. The achievement will be unlocked as soon as that fish is caught. So the release is actually more important because one of the balls, the seventh ball of your first license, when you fill up the license, the last one of those you have to have caught and released 100 fish. As far as I know, there is no benefit to keeping fish except putting them in the tank, although we will explore that mechanic at the end of this video. So you can put them in the tank and watch them and care for them, and I suppose they would grow. I've never explored that mechanic very much because I think that is a very Natsume-esque bit of simulation that is a little less interesting than the main part of this game for me. So I'm switching to the dry fly because that is my that's my preferred bait of choice. This level tells you in the description that these fish get very weary, and that you should reset the level periodically. I don't know if that's in the game officially or not. I'm going to keep this fish and bring it back to the tank in the aqua room. You see its status is tired. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they just told you and had no mechanic in it, but they may have also worked in that bit of realism there. By the way, this video will not have me catching the ball winning sized char because I think that's a little bit too much to have in here if this is supposed to be instructional for how to catch them, because your strategies are going to be the same for catching those larger fish. So we can watch the fish tank, and the different buttons do different things. So that your face buttons, triangle, square, X, those ones will put food in the tank. So you can drop different kinds of food depending on the button. There's little red things, there's little grubs or larvae that you can drop in there. And you can use different things until your fish looks like it's in good health. So this would be your fun you can have. You can turn the light off and on with the L and R buttons. And you can hear I'm knocking on the tank. And there I switched off the bubbler, so you can switch off the bubbler. I would assume that would kill your fish. These fish can die in here. If you do leave them neglected for too long, your fish will die. Knocking on the tank, I'm sure, is not the best for them, but it gets them to do a little flip right there. And you can check their status, and you can just watch them grow and take care of them if you would like.
Don't use a dry fly when the fish are nervous.
And we always end with a look at the Fishing Master because he always gives you sound advice. If you do like this game, if you do like our backgrounds, I have a series called Real Fishing Relaxation, where it is just 15 solid minutes of a level background with the sound effects and the music. I do like using those sometimes for background music. And I do have the series here, started with part 1. This is your second level. Next time we're going to be going on to the creek and trying to catch some bitterling. If you did like this video, please let me know. You can give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or would like some more feedback, leave me a comment below, or you can hit me up on Twitter, where I'm also active_ATE. If there's anything I didn't address in here that you'd like to know, I'll let you know if I know it. And if I don't, I can make something up. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time at the creek.